start
Okay,
with this
I'm going to
one.
start with this one because this so perfectly encapsulates what you see in the deconstruction movement. Especially calling their parents emotionally immature. So I have talked to so many couples who have grown adult children who have deconstructed and cut them off, and many times called them emotionally immature, stunted, all of these things, and toxic. Of course, they call them toxic. And so this is the perception in the deconstruction world that the older generation of Christian parents, they're emotionally immature, they're like childlike in that way, and we're the ones who have grown past this. We're the ones that are healing. We're the ones that are trying to resolve our trauma. So we're going to cut that toxicity off. And so it's like this reaction against a whole generation, which just kind of blows my mind that you would think, yeah, there are emotionally immature people, of course, but an entire generation is not emotionally immature.
No,
they've lived enough life. Everybody has suffered. We were talking about this earlier, Monique. Every person who's ever lived has suffered. Nobody has the life that they wanted perfectly, right? We all have to reckon with these things. And I was looking at this like, or maybe they've learned to dance
in spite of it,
instead of ruminate. And I'm not saying don't heal from your trauma. There are things we know now that are helpful. I'm not saying that it, just shove it down and pretend that it's not real. But there is something to the idea of suck it up a little bit and just, you can't ruminate and jump into that hole and cut everybody off in your life because it's not exactly perfect for you, because that's not going to make you stronger anyway. Stressors make us stronger. Yeah. And so to view a generation like this, it's to me, it's mind-blowingly disrespectful. And it's, not to use the word we keep using, but it's arrogant. I'm
going to push back on this one just slightly.
Okay.
Because that's a fun thing to do. I've been wounded by emotionally immature relatives. I won't be too specific of that generation. And I have observed their inability to have difficult conversations after an emotional wound is caused. And that attitude of not suck it up, but just we've moved past that. Let's just all get along.
Why can't you? Yeah,
it's the peacekeeper, not the peacemaker attitude that I think I wouldn't label the whole generation with. Yeah. But because that was my experience, what did happen to be that age group. Yeah. I can see how that would transfer over to someone who's really wrestling with the faith they were raised with. Yeah, sure. If they've got someone equally emotionally immature, unable to really have these deep conversations with them, and either it's we can't talk about it or whatever the case may be, I can see why that would be difficult if you're deconstructing and need to talk. Yeah,
to your point though, this is funny. It is funny.
Yeah.
I think, or at least I question the idea of your emotionally immature parents living their best life. Maybe their way of coping, maybe their way of getting through it is to dance. Yeah. It doesn't. One of the things I think I'm learning as I get older and I have a relationship with my mom is different generations handle situations differently.
Yes.
There are different pieces of knowledge available based on your age. The things that I have available to me with the internet and things like that, my mom didn't have available to her. What we have learned in psychology wasn't available to her. She didn't know that. And so...
And what was modeled to them by their generation, right?
You know what I mean? So you have all of these different things coming into this one pot, and now they're blamed as being simply just emotionally immature, where it's like, maybe this is, part of how they're getting through. Maybe the emotionally immature piece is the calling out. And saying, well, they're just emotionally immature. Well, you know what? It actually takes a little bit more emotional growth and stamina to actually have a hard conversation, to be able to sit with your own emotions instead of just name calling.